Hello, everyone. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
It's our usual bat time, our usual bat channel, and both of us are here. 2
Yay.
weeks in a row. It's a rare occurrence.
A very big rarity.
Don't get used to it because one or the other of us will be out of office for most of July, right? We've
Yeah.
got we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have some exciting guest stars, but we'll get into that next
You know
time.
what? There's so much going on, as was evident with the launch of June and like a
Mhm.
million openings, and that's just going to continue.
Right. Well, we've already got a few people in the chat. Let's say hi to some folks. Trey Porter, top of the morning
Good
to you
morning to
too,
you.
sir. Michael Bingham here, as always. Welcome, Michael, and welcome to Blossom and Michelangelo in Derico's Corner. Great to see all of you there. Yeah, we've got some exciting stuff to talk about today for sure.
Oh, yes.
Um,
I'm very excited for our main attraction.
yes. I feel like we've talked about it before, but I can talk about this topic over and over again.
Same.
So before we jump right into the main show, Brian Sager checking in. Yeah, Disney's just went from Halloween announcements to Christmas announcements. Have a great time on your trip to LA to see some family.
Oh,
I hope
nice.
you do get to visit Knott's and Disneyland while you're there. All right. Well, Michael Bingham's got the right idea. He knows what we're talking
Yes.
about today. So let's just do this thing and kick it off in 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I'm Seth.
And I'm Carly.
And we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. And Carly, what have you been up to this past week?
Yes, I have been in a ultra recovery mode. We kind of got slammed in the theme park world with multiple events back to back to back, and
Seriously.
it was so awesome. I got to see so many people, got to hang out with you. But then, after all the fun and games, you have to retreat to your computer to write about those said fun and
Typing
games.
cat.
Yes. So I've been in hibernation to get all of that squared today. I have to finish my DreamWorks opening story, and then I'm caught up. But I am excited because I'm wearing my Tiana's Bayou Adventure hat.
Yeah.
That opens this week, and I will
Yes.
be around. Hopefully, try to go either Friday or Saturday, but I really can't wait. I mean, I truly loved it. I've been thinking about it a lot, which usually doesn't happen after an attraction. I only got to go on it once during the preview, but I cannot wait to go on it again.
Yeah, there's so much detail in there.
Mhm.
Even if you got a clean ride through with everything working, you still need more than one ride to see everything. So I'm like you. I've
100%.
got my annual pass reservations for the park this weekend. Hopefully, the virtual queue gods will smile on us at 7 a.m. and it won't make the trek out there, and it will be worth it. So I'm excited. That's awesome. I also had some interesting stuff this week. I got to attend a session of the All Ears Theme Park Music Conference. This is a scholarly conference about
Ooh.
people all around the country, all around the world, doing research on music and sound in theme parks. They had a conference where papers were presented at the Rosen School, which is part of UCF. It's over right near Epic Universe. And I got to hear some really interesting presentations, one on the use of audio in the wand effects for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, one about the evolution of Disney theme park musicals. But the one I was really there to see, my co-author on the unofficial guides, Len Testa, did a deep dive into the Buddy Baker archives, which are held
Wow.
at New York University. Buddy Baker, in case you don't know, is a legendary Disney composer and arranger, responsible for a lot of the tunes that you know from the theme parks, especially Epcot. He did a lot of the early Epcot stuff. And a lot of his work has been lost to time until now. Len dug into the archives and found handwritten manuscripts for songs for attractions that
Wow.
were never built, and then hired musicians to perform the songs and then played them at this for the first time ever. So we got to hear Buddy Baker's music for the original version of the American Pavilion, which had some
Wow.
very inappropriate lyrics. His
I can
music
imagine.
his music for the Snow Queen ride, which was supposed to be a flume ride in Disneyland long before Splash Mountain, which was the very first version of Frozen. What I really excited me, recordings of the music he composed for the Africa Pavilion that was never built at Epcot, even though
Wow.
everything was planned out and done.
Right.
So I don't know if the Disney lawyers will allow Len to ever release that stuff publicly. I encourage you, if you want to email Len at touringplans.com, maybe he could give you some hints about what it was like. But it was a really, really cool, like once in a lifetime opportunity to hear stuff that no one has ever heard before. So that
That
was
is
amazing. Thank you, Len,
amazing.
and thank you to the Rosen School and all ear the All Ears Music Conference. It was
That's
really,
incredible.
really
I mean,
cool.
it's just so amazing. You know, when we went to college, there wasn't programs about anything
No,
with theme parks, and now
no, not
if
at
you want
all.
to get into even haunted theme entertainment, there's full programs for it, and it's so amazing. It's exciting for kids now that are into it because that definitely was not,
Uh,
all these greats now, they made it up as they went along. Now
when
there's a
I
little bit more structure.
when I was studying theater in college, I was the weirdo because I took theme parks seriously, and everyone was like, "That's not real art." And the fact that
Look
now
at
there
us
are
now.
programs like the Rosen School, that where you can get a real degree in this kind of stuff, is pretty cool. Um, and uh, and I also just happened to sit down at my computer and book myself a trip to Tokyo. So it looks like the 1st through the 11th. I will be visiting Japan. I'm going to go to 3 days at Disney Sea, Tokyo Disneyland, 2 days at Disney Sea, one at Disneyland. I'm also going to visit Kyoto and end up in Osaka. So spend a day and a
Ooh.
half at USJ and hopefully get to ride Donkey Kong Minecart Madness if it
Oh my
happens. So
God.
yeah,
Wait, July 1st you're going?
September.
Oh, okay.
September 1st through the 11th. So real
Wow.
soon. Yeah.
Oh
I
my
first
God.
started looking at January and realized that January is going to be really cold and found some really crazy good prices in September. I got to say, I was always intimidated by the cost and the
Mhm.
difficulty. Absolutely not. Once I started booking it, it seemed a lot easier than I thought it would be. And I'm shocked at how cheap the hotels are. I'm
Yeah,
paying I think less than $150 a night to stay at the Sheraton Grand, which is right on the monorail at Disney, and similar for a parkfront hotel right at the gates of USJ. So
right.
that ratio of the yen to the dollar is very advantageous for us right now.
Yes. So one of my friends, TDR Explorer, he posted
Yes.
you could preload a Wise debit card, which is a debit card over there, because the value right now is like insane for the US dollar to yen. So maybe
Yes.
you
So
should
if it's
try doing
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's
Um,
lock in some of that
I'm so jealous.
things I know.
Oh, you'll have
Yeah,
to
I'm
give me a
excited.
something Lena Bell.
Yeah, I still haven't. I booked the hotels and everything, but it all keys on being able to buy park tickets when they are
Mm,
released. You can only buy them like 60 days in advance. So on
yes.
July 1st, I'll know for sure if I'm able to get park tickets or if I'm canceling the whole thing. So
Yes.
we will
It's
see.
definitely a different process and it does seem a little stressful, but you'll get it done. That's
You know
exciting.
what? I downloaded the app. The app seems real straightforward. I was able to make my hotel reservation through hotels.com, just like I do, hotels here. It really doesn't seem that bad. I'll find out when I get there, I guess. Well,
Amazing.
we have chatted quite a bit. So without any further ado, shall we jump into the news in the queue?
Yes.
All right, for this week's news, we are starting out, ironically enough, in Asia, but not Japan, in Singapore, where at Universal Studios Singapore, a Minions flash mob is coming as part of a special event celebrating Despicable Me 4 at the Singapore park this summer. If you are a fan of the Minions, you want to check out their Mega Despicable Summer event starting on July 1st and running through August 11th at the park, which is located at Resorts World Sentosa.
Oh, I would love to see this because of how hard the theme park attendees over there go, especially with the minion bounding.
Yeah.
I'll look up, like pictures on Instagram and whatnot, and they wear the overalls, the
Uh-huh.
thing. I mean, I just can't even imagine how cool this will be, especially with everyone so hyped also about it.
Absolutely. Well, if you are that hyped too, put on your blue minion overalls and head over to the New York area of the park, where they are going to have some giant inflatables to take pictures with, as well as meet and greets with the Anti-Villain League minions, Kevin and Stuart, and of course Gru, Lucy, Margot, Edith, and Agnes. They will all be out making appearances. And there will also be a new Mission Mega show where you can volunteer to be transformed into a mega human, along with that Minion Flash Mob performance that will be taking place.
So fun.
And you will have special food to fuel up with, exclusive merchandise featuring the Baby Pit Crew minions, and more to celebrate the release of Despicable Me 4, hitting theaters on July 4th.
Yes, and I'm excited that they're getting a Minion Land like we have in Orlando. So
Yes,
I love that they go hard in on the Minion. Kids obviously love it. It is just like a winning franchise that is never going to stop. We're going to have like Minion 1,000 with the girls in like a retirement home. I mean, it's going to be like forever.
How do minions age? Like, eventually, do the minions start getting wrinkly and like losing
I
their
think
teeth?
they're ageless.
I don't want to. I don't really don't want to see a geriatric minion. That
No.
is. As you mentioned, there is a Minion Land that is under construction in Singapore. They're going to get the Minion Mayhem Simulator, similar to what we have here. Plus, they're also getting a first of its kind, yet to be announced attraction that I think is going to be kind of like a family spinner carnival type ride with Minion theming. But all of that is still under construction in Singapore. But that isn't stopping them from celebrating the new movie.
Yes.
And speaking of Minions, if you are at Universal Studios Florida in Orlando, you can also meet the Minions in their new Anti-Villain League outfits from the new film. If you haven't seen them, they're very snazzy,
Yes.
business professional, jacket and tie look. Yes, they've gone a little bougie. I don't know.
Yeah, they look very dapper. I love that
Very
whole
dapper, very dapper.
area.
Yes.
It's so cute. I mean, you just see so many good characters. You got Victor coming through. I mean, they go hard.
Yeah, these guys started appearing on the 21st of June, and they show up at the Illumination Theater facade that's in Minion Land, right in between the Minion Blast ride and the Minion Cafe. And you can see them in these outfits, as we mentioned, on the big screen. July 3rd is the day that it opens in the United States, July 4th in other markets. And if just a picture with those two isn't enough for you, there's also a new photo op right
Yes.
outside of Rip Ride Rocket, where you can pose with statues featuring some of the new Mega Minions. It's a lot of fun.
They look very silly. I think it's
Yes.
perfect.
Yep. There's of course all sorts of Minion merchandise going on, Minion celebrations happening all over, and Universal is joining in the fun this summer. Okay, next up, something that is also universal, but maybe a little less cheerful for the kiddies. Halloween Horror Nights out in Hollywood has finally announced their first original haunted house for the season. We previously learned that they are getting A Quiet Place, just like we're getting on Orlando. Now we're getting their first original. It is called Dead Exposure Death Valley, and it is a spiritual sequel to a fan favorite from back in the day at Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, I remember this vividly. I think it was 2008 when it first came
Oh my God, yes.
to Florida, and it was scary because zombies are inherently one of the scariest of creatures to have in a house, and they're freaky looking. So
Yeah, so the as you mentioned, 2008 was the year of the first dead exposure house that I went through a couple times. And if you did not have epileptic seizures before entering that house, you might suffer from them afterwards, because they had the brilliant idea to basically, this was the one where they basically painted the entire house black with
Yep.
white figures, and you couldn't see anything at all until they had strobes, and they would flash these strobes, which were like an old flash bulb for a camera. I believe, was this the first one with Boris Schuster? I believe
Yes,
this
I'm
was,
pretty
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so this kind of introduced that character, which carried on through subsequent years. But I think at the time he was like an investigative reporter. He was a photographer, and so you were sort of experiencing his journey through this zombie apocalypse, all just flashes from a camera bulb. And oh my God, it was so headache inducing. It was cool, it was creative, but it was a bit of an operational nightmare. And then they
Right.
brought it back 10 years later.
Yep.
They had an updated version called Patient Zero in 2018. That wasn't quite as intense with the black and white. They used a lot more black light in that one. You can watch a video of that on our YouTube channel. And it was set in Paris, but it was still a pretty intense house.
It was very
Yeah.
intense that year.
So this is the first time that they have brought this theme to California, and they have the story that they have revealed for this is on social media says that a secret lab's attempts to create super soldiers takes a turn for the worse, creating radioactive zombies who escape just as you arrive. So it's not bad enough that they're zombies; they're radioactive.
Radioactive, yes.
So
I
yeah.
know, and this artwork is terrifying, but I can't wait to do it.
Well, this artwork is terrifying for a couple reasons. One, because it's pretty nasty and gory with a nuclear explosion in the background and a brain exposed zombie in the foreground. The brain exposed zombie in the foreground also, from what I've seen, appears to be ripped straight off of a stock image
I did see
site
that.
with a little bit of modification. I guess we should be thankful that they're just not, using Sora or another, Chat GPT bot to generate their art now. Hopefully there was some human being involved in that. But yeah, so this is all, of course, part of Halloween Horror Nights 2024, coming this fall, coming in September, to Halloween Horror Nights, or sorry, to Universal Studios Hollywood. And we previously talked about the Quiet Place house. We have stories about all that up on our website. You can check it out. And Universal Fan Travel, part of MEI Mouse Fan Travel, can help get you there.
Oh yes, I love HHN Hollywood. It's a totally different vibe if you've only done Orlando. So I love getting to experience it.
Yep. I'm wondering if I'm going to get to see any Halloween in Japan when I'm there in September. That would be very exciting.
Amazing. Yes. I'm trying to remember if theirs starts later.
Yeah, I feel like they probably aren't on the American schedule of
we're insane.
Halloween in August.
We are
Yeah. Well, also evil, but not universal. The DC Heroes and Villains Fest is now underway at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and you can meet some of your favorite DC bad guys and their enemies at select nights now through August 4th at the Magic Mountain Park near Los Angeles, California.
Yes, all the baddies will be out.
Yep. Yeah, they are highlighting the good and evil of the DC Comics universe with an event taking place on select evenings, and it is included in your park admission. No extra charge. It's going to include an opening ceremony cavalcade, character greetings, a femme fatales show starring Harley Quinn,
Ooh.
and meet and greets with all the good guys and the bad guys, from Batman and Wonder Woman to the Joker and Catwoman.
Yes, I'm sure there's some good people watching because you can get dressed up. And again, it's included in your park ticket. And I kind of love any event that is included.
This is happening from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays, running now through August 4th, except for Saturday, July 6th, because they're having special 4th of July festivities. And this is all part of the DC universe, which is a large section of the park. They've got a bunch of roller coasters, the Batman roller coaster, which is a classic, Wonder Woman, which is that single rail, very innovative kind of coaster. The Riddler's Revenge, which is one of those spinning things that I don't go for.
No.
And Superman: The Escape from Krypton, which, if it's actually working when you go, is pretty cool because it's one of the world's first super tall launch coasters. They've also got a drop ride and spinning flat rides. I also really like that Justice League dark ride that they've got there.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So a lot of fun stuff going on, and you can enjoy it all through the beginning of August with your regular park admission.
Yes, I love this is all happening amidst, they announced July 1st as the date where the merger is going to take place between Six Flags and
Cedar Fair. Yep.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will make Six Flags more like Cedar Fair and not Cedar Fair more like Six Flags.
My fingers are
That's my prayer. Yeah. All right. Well, now for something completely different. We've talked before about some of these immersive television show based experiences, and one of the original ones is coming permanently to Sin City. The Friends experience is getting a permanent residency in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand Hotels, the District, which is their shopping area there.
Yes, I have to laugh at Andy's comment. The one where they made an immersive experience. Oh God, I hope people make shirts.
Yes, exactly.
Because every day at Disney, you see someone wearing the one where they went to Disney World. So.
Yep. So this one, if you are a fan of the classic 90s sitcom and you haven't checked out this experience when it's toured around the country, we've talked about before out in New York and California, you'll be able to visit it all year round in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand after it opens up sometime later in 2024, exact date to be announced. Like it has been in the 20 plus cities around the world that it's already visited, it's going to be a recreation of sets and locations from the show, like the apartment, the coffee house. There's couches to yes, there's couches to lounge on. It's basically a giant selfie station. It's a place to pose for pictures to put on your Instagram. If you are a fan of Friends, this will all make a lot of sense to you. If you are like me and have never watched a complete episode of the show, this will probably all go a little over your head. They've done similar things for The Office and Harry Potter, which are things that I can really get into. Yeah. So I can see if you're a Friends fan that this is definitely something you'll probably want to check out when you are in Vegas.
Yes, Friends is my hotel room comfort show when I'm traveling alone because it's on every single night, all
exactly
on Nick at Night, whatever. So that's like my nighttime show when I'm by myself, and I definitely would like to check this out. Although I don't know, I'd rather see the real set pieces.
Yes. Yeah, so I believe that at the Warner Brothers studio tour in Hollywood, they have some actual authentic sets and props there. Pretty sure that these Friends experiences that tour around the world are recreations, but they look really good.
They do, they look good.
So that is if you want to learn more about this, head on over to friendstheexperience.com/Vegas and you find a video tour of it on our YouTube channel. Speaking of experiencing your favorite TV shows in real life, if you are a loyal Netflix subscriber, you may want to visit Netflix House, which is coming to 2 locations featuring attractions based on popular Netflix franchises. Basically, malls are dying. Right. We know a lot of anchors at malls have been going away and leaving a lot of big space. And 2 malls, the King of Prussia Mall near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and the Galleria Dallas in Dallas, Texas, they've got vacancies that used to have giant 100,000 square foot department stores And Netflix is moving in.
I think this is a really cool idea. Again, like I'm not always dazzled by these immersive experiences. Not really my cup of tea, but this sounds really good in that it's ever alive and ever
Yeah,
evolving based on what's popular. And I love that idea of being able to switch things out and jump onto trends. And
yeah.
there's food and the whole nine yards.
So we basically just have some very vague concept art of the
Yeah.
exterior. They haven't officially announced any components, but they have teased us, implying that you will be able to walk onto a set from Bridgerton and waltz with your bow, play one of the games from Squid Game, hopefully not dying,
I hope.
and shop for Stranger Things merchandise. They promise that you'll be able to pick up that Hellfire Club T-shirt that you've always wanted. I got to do the Stranger Things experience that they toured around when it was in Aventura down near
Oh
Miami.
yeah. Mhm.
And it was fun. It was, photo ops, merchandise, food, very similar to, the Friends thing. We've talked about a lot of these, but I think the idea of bringing multiple of these brands or IPs together, almost like a little mini indoor theme park.
Yeah.
If they can if they can plus it and have some things that are truly interactive and experiential and not just make it a selfie station, I think that would really go a long way.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, again, like you said, it's very vague in what they included
Yeah.
in the announcement, but it does have the potential to be really cool and worth a stop. I know I've driven past King of Prussia Mall many times
Yep.
on the way to Hershey Park.
Yep.
It is a massive, massive mall.
Huge. Oh yeah. Yeah. So they will be opening this at sometime in 2025. Exact date has not been announced, but head on over to netflixhouse.com. Keep an eye on that for more information. And that is going to bring us to the end of our news in the queue. But we have a whole lot of stuff to talk about for our main attraction.
Yes.
So before we do that, let us hear a word from our sponsors.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and MEI-Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI-Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction.
And for this week's main attraction, Universal Orlando has unveiled all the details on Dark Universe at Epic Universe. Artwork, scaled models, construction photos, ride descriptions, and I, for one, am here for it. This is the land that I think I have been the most excited for. The Universal Classic Monsters are coming back to life in a brand new form, and you are going to be able to ride through the nightmare with Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, you name it. It will be like I don't know. I don't want to quite say year-round Halloween Horror Nights because it's not a haunted house, but it will be spooky.
It evokes the spirit of HHN
Yes,
all year
absolutely.
long.
Absolutely. So we are going to do a deep dive. I know we've talked about this before. I mentioned last week that I got to visit the preview center, but we are going to go step by step through everything coming to Dark Universe. And geek out over it because
Yes.
yeah, I can't really stay like journalistically objective and critique this intellectually. I am so excited. This is something I've dreamed. I actually wrote an article almost 15 years ago for I think for a website that no longer exists with like a detailed idea of how they could build a classic monsters land or theme park at Universal, and it's crazy how many of the things that I dreamt of that they are actually doing. So I'm I'm s- I'm excited. I can't
Yes.
help it.
It was such an exciting day on Thursday. I know we were just all waiting, and it was
uh,
like I couldn't really focus on anything throughout the day because I was just like, I can't believe this is real. Like,
yeah,
It
Yeah.
is, and I also cried when I went in the preview center, so I don't
Oh,
know. I mean, but a lot of us feel the same way, so they must be onto something.
absolutely. So, in case you don't know what we're talking about, maybe this is the first time you've ever listened to this podcast. Universal's building a brand new theme park. It's called Universal Epic Universe. It's located a couple miles south of their existing theme parks, and it is going to open up in 2025 with a giant hub called Celestial Park, and then 4 themed lands. We've talked before about Super Mario World. We've talked before about How to Train Your Dragon, the Isle of Berk, and today we are talking about Epic Universe, which is based on the Universal Classic Monsters. You're going to step into a European village called Darkmoor, and the land is set in the present day, but the idea is that all those old monster movies, Frankenstein, Dracula, all those black and white movies, those were like documentaries. That was what really happened in this land. And 100 years later, the inhabitants of the land are still kind of traumatized by it, and trying to cope with all of the monsters that still roam around their village. Some of the stories that are going to be brought to life here are Dracula, the Wolfman, Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. We're also going to have hints of the Phantom of the Opera, possibly the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And these are not your grandpa's versions of the characters. This is not Bela Lugosi or Elsa Lancaster. These are original new incarnations, new interpretations of the characters that are brought to life by Victoria Frankenstein, who happens to be the great daughter of the original Dr. Frankenstein.
Yes, and if you look at the renderings that they have shown so far, Frankenstein's monster is kind of good looking. I know it's like really crazy to say.
He got a little bit of a glow up. I mean,
He did.
he's still scarred and stuff, but that's some people find that hot.
Yes, in a hot way.
Yeah. Yes, all of the monsters, I'd say they've all been glammed up a little. In some ways, the designs actually remind me a little bit of the movie Van Helsing, which is not one of the movies that Universal is officially recognizing in this canon. In their preview video, they actually showed clips of past, Universal monster movies, all the black and white classics, but they also had some little clips of the remake of The Wolfman and Dracula. Was it Dracula Untold? The one that was supposed to kick off a franchise and died very quickly. No reference, thankfully, to the Tom Cruise The Mummy.
Oh, yes.
We are keeping that from existence. But it's looked like they're kind of referencing and paying homage to the past, but still having new versions of all of these characters. So, people who are both familiar with the old movies and people who are coming into it for the first time should all be able to connect to it.
Absolutely. I mean, the cool thing about this is you don't have to have seen a single one of the classic movies. It doesn't matter because this is an entirely new story. And the characters are so iconic that, what they've done doesn't really matter.
It's like, I'm Jewish, but I know who Santa Claus is. Even if you've never seen a Frankenstein movie, like the image, the flat top, the bolts on the neck is like, so ingrained in our pop culture that it's hard to not figure out what it is. The signature ride in this land is called Monsters Unchained: The Frankenstein Experiment. And this is a dark ride that's going to use a ride system basically identical to Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. You're going to have a 4-seat bench put on the end of a robotic arm. But yes, it's designed to look like a tombstone instead of a bench. But the big difference between this ride and Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey is Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey kind of put blinders on you and put you in front of dome screens. And it was very much about kind of narrowing your focus and looking at one spot and having a lot of motion simulation. This is opening up so you can look up above you, around you, de-emphasizing the screens. There'll still be video projections there, but they're there to blend in with the sets and kind of just make things look bigger where the focus is on physical things happening right in front of your face, especially animatronics. And they've showed off a little clip of a werewolf animatronic that's going to be used in this ride that is just stunning. I think we're going to see some of the most fluid, dynamic, scary animatronics that we've ever seen in this ride.
Yes, I love that they included that they said this is going to be the most terrifying thing they have ever done, yet still digestible
Yeah.
to a family. So I'm excited to see how that plays out.
And I
And
really
also, like, with it being less screen based, hopefully, I know a lot of people get ill on Forbidden Journey, so they don't go on it. But I think they get ill because of that screen. It's right in their face. So I think this will be better because more people can enjoy it that maybe got sick before.
I've been told that they are definitely focusing on making this, visceral thrill, visually very frightening, also tactily frightening. If you are familiar with Alien Encounter or even Tough to Be a Bug, I think that the seats that we're going to be sitting in are going to have some tactile special effects that will enhance the experience. They've explicitly referred to feeling breath on your neck, and I think we're also going to feel some other things during the ride. But I don't think it's going to be terrifying in the way a roller coaster that goes upside down is. I don't think it's going to flip you, 360 degrees upside down. You'll probably go on your back like you do in Forbidden Journey. But I think that the fear is going to come more from the intensity of it, the visuals of it, rather than it being like a really rough ride.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I am hyped for this. I can't believe we're getting this next year. A year from now, we're going to have ridden it many times.
And, this one, from what I've seen, is going to be the complete package, not just a great ride, but also a really gorgeous facade. The Frankenstein Manor castle with this electricity running up it. And then inside a really elaborate queue. We've seen a foyer with big spiral staircases and a portrait of Victoria Frankenstein. And I think we're going to have lots of great stuff to look at throughout the queue before we even get on the ride.
Oh, yes. And, for once, I won't curse Florida weather because when it's all gloomy,
it'll be perfect.
Like a lightning storm, it's going to look so cool in the land.
Absolutely. So the second major ride, and this is not an E-ticket. I'd call this more of a D ticket, is called Curse of the Werewolf. And this is a spinning roller coaster. We believe this is being built by Mock Rides.
Yeah.
It is not an inverting coaster. It doesn't go upside down like Time Traveler, which is a similar ride to it.
I was just about to say, I love Time Traveler. It's one of my favorite rides, but this is going to be like a little bit more,
family friendly. Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
This is one that the whole family, can ride together. You're going to sit two people, pairs of people sitting back to back in a car. So you might sit forward, you might sit backwards, and you're going to spin around. So you don't know which way you're going to face. You're going to enter this through a camp of Romani or travelers, or I think they refer to them as gypsies somewhere in the press release. I'm not sure if we're really supposed to do that. But they're going to have colorful tents and wagons that you queue under before you meet Mereva, who's the new, younger incarnation of the old fortune teller from the original Wolfman film. She's going to warn you, but you're going to take off anyway.
Right. Beware of the moon. Bye.
Beware the moon. Unfortunately, even during the daytime, the moon is out when you enter the barn, where you're going to find a couple of really scary Wolfman animatronics hanging out, ready to swipe at you. I'm getting definite shades of the Disco Yeti here.
Yes.
Hopefully this guy will keep moving and not just get a strobe thrown on him. But you're going to launch backwards and forwards through this barn and then spin around. The ride's only a little over 2 minutes long. It's not, it's not up to the scale of like Hagrid's. But I think this one should be a lot of fun for the whole family.
Yes, and she is also very glam. If you see the art,
yes, oh yeah,
glam. I know. I don't remember if they use the word gypsy, but I guess that's the easiest way to describe because that's what the little trolley thing looks like.
So we've got, in addition to those 2 rides, there are a bunch of interactive experiences and entertainment options. And one of the things that excited me most, Patrick Braillard was on the video talking about this. He's a senior show writer with Creative. Um, you know, they're fleshing out this land. It's not just architecture, it's not just buildings, it's people, it's inhabitants. There's stories, there are characters. And I hope that this is going to turn into sort of what we hoped Galaxy's Edge would be, like what we used to have in a comedic way with the citizens of Hollywood. There's going to be a whole cast of characters that you can meet and interact with. So
I want to meet the sad violinist.
absolutely, absolutely. She looks very emo.
She does.
So
out.
First of all, if you want to be a character yourself in this story, the Darkmoor monster makeup experience is going to let you transform into your favorite monster, either with elaborate face paint applied by professional makeup artists or temporary tattoos. I think that the thing that we had during Mardi Gras at the Five and Dime in Universal was definitely kind of a test run for this.
Yes. This is a bippity boppity boutique for us monster kids that are all grown up.
And Disney tried this, the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique definitely appealed to a very narrow segment of little girls. And they tried with that pirates that pirate makeover thing to sort of broaden the appeal, and I don't feel like that ever caught on the same way Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. But this is something, young, old, no matter what your gender, you can love the monsters. So I am excited to see people walking around fully made up.
I had an interesting thought. Do you think the team members, that work here will have some sort of makeup on them to make them look like pale and like vampire-y or something?
Oh, that would be cool. I don't see necessarily makeup, but this makeup artist that they show in the concept art here does have a really cool hairstyle with like the Bride of Frankenstein white in there. I have a feeling that they're going to hire people for this who already goth piercings, tattoos. Like that's who I would hire for this gig for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, that would just make this even tenfold more immersive. And I was like, I think
I would go visit Spooky Empire and go to the artist alley for the people who do
people
tattoos.
Are going to be
really like, I want to hire you.
Yeah, they're going to be proud to work in this land. So I feel like team members will go hard.
Yep. And so once you have dressed up as your favorite monster, then you can go meet them. They're going to have multiple meet and greets throughout the land. I think probably the most popular one is going to be meeting the Bride of Frankenstein and the new Frankenstein's monster. There's also going to be meet and greets. Igor is going to be around. They're going to have a meet and greet with the Invisible Man, and I really want to know if it'll literally just be a blank wall. Like, oh, he's right over there. Yeah, go and take a picture. Oh, no, he's a little hoarse today, so he's not going to talk. But he's right there. Go take this.
I can already.
That'll be the cheapest meet and greet ever.
I can already imagine the viral TikToks of like girls thirst trapping on the new Frankenstein monster, which always happens at these haunt events where some sort of actor goes viral because they're like really good looking.
Yeah,
that is 100% going to happen with this.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then some of the other characters that we talked about that you can meet. For instance, they've got the Burning Blade Tavern. This is based on the windmill from the end of the first Frankenstein movie.
With a real burning windmill.
It's going to, every 20 minutes, it's going to burst into flames. So like take that, Gringotts Dragon. This is going to one-up that. And you can go in and you can eat and you can drink, but you can also meet the hunters. This is a troupe of characters that are monster hunters that roam throughout the land. They hang out here at the Burning Blade Tavern, and they will tell you stories of their adventures, of their hunts. And you can even see in this restaurant some trophies, some severed heads and skulls showing off their triumphs. in addition to hang out with those guys, you can head over to Das Steakhouse.
So
That's
good.
spelled Stakehaus. And this is a restaurant run by vampire familiars. In case you don't watch What We Do in the Shadows, a familiar is someone who is a human who is enthralled to a vampire. They fed off their blood, but they haven't actually become one of the undead themselves yet. So they have some vampiric powers, but they're basically there to like recruit new victims for their masters. So you go in, and of course, the food here is steak, Steak, on a steak, Stak, Ake.
AKA
Or
Bob's.
yeah, kebabs. Yes, exactly, shish kebabs. So you'll be able to order those, and the venue looks absolutely stunning. I mean, this looks like it could
Yes.
be an attraction, not a restaurant. I want to know what this is. We've got this view here where it looks like you can see a wall has been blown away, and this huge vista with a giant castle and red skies. I don't know if that's going to be some kind of video wall projection or something, but it looks just stunning.
Yes, and I was kind of hoping this would be full service, but it is going to operate, I'm assuming, like with mobile ordering, like a Minion Cafe or like in
Yeah.
Wizarding World, where you'll sit down, you'll have the food brought to you, but it is, I guess, a
This
fast casual restaurant.
this is Universal's calling things quick service still, or fast casual.
Right.
But basically you're absolutely right. Minion Cafe, Leaky Cauldron, that is the model for pretty much all of the restaurants in this park. If it has seats, it's going to be based on you using the mobile ordering and getting food delivered to your table. There's going to be 2 full sit-down restaurants in the Celestial Park area, but as far as I know, all of the restaurants in the themed lands are going to either be just a walk-up window or this kind of modified, mobile order table service delivery system that they've been working on. So
Yes, and I'm curious about the tavern because it looks like it could be similar in setup to Hogshead, but they also have food. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering if they're gonna have like, because there are like high top tables and stuff in there. I
Yeah.
wonder if you're gonna have like one line if you just want to grab a beer, and then something else if you're getting the food too, because this is gonna definitely be a popular like meet me for a beer spot.
Yeah, for sure. It would be great if they had a setup similar to Hogshead where,
Yeah.
you can buy the Leaky Cauldron food with mobile order or standing in line, or you can just walk up to the bar. I think this is going to be real popular, though. They're going to need
Yep.
some crowd control for sure. And they're going to need good bartenders. Uh,
Yes, and I'm hoping for some exclusive beers like they made for Wizarding World,
oh,
which
that would
it
be,
would be
yes.
perfect for this, like a dark
Exclusive
ale.
exclusive beers, exclusive wines. I never drink wine.
Yeah,
Uh,
well, if it's blood, then you have to drink it.
exactly,
And
exactly.
then I don't know if
Maybe
you
they
read
could
the
bring back the
article.
blood bags from Halloween Horror
Oh
Nights.
my! I literally, when this was announced, I literally texted my sister a picture of a blood bag. I'm like, maybe we can get blood bags year
Yeah.
round because, I mean, that would be so perfect. We should open up a blood bag company. We're gonna score big. And also, one of the carts, it kind of was buried in the press release, is gonna have cinnamon bread, which, as you
Yes.
know, from Dollywood, Silver Dollar City, formerly at Hershey Park, is like a theme park gold when it comes to snack.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe it's going to be year round in
Yeah.
Orlando.
I saw that. I think it is it's a quick service hut.
Yes.
And I think it is film themed to, what is the character name? DeLacy?
Yes.
They're the old blind hermit who takes in the Frankenstein monster when he escapes. And my favorite is the Mel Brooks version, the Young Frankenstein, where he offers him soup, and then he gives him a cigar, and then the best line ever was, "Wait, I was about to make espresso." So I really hope they serve espresso.
Oh my God. And you could dunk your cinnamon bread in the espresso. That sounds
Yes,
perfect.
that'd be awesome. So we've also got more concept art of the rest of the land. it looks like you're going to walk through. Well, we'll talk a little bit about the portal, but there's all sorts of mausoleums. There's a graveyard that you walk through.
So that's when you enter, right? As you're walking into this old
Yes.
cemetery. Okay.
Yes, you kind of pass through this cemetery. We do have some concept art of that emo violin player who's going to be playing original songs about the monsters, telling their stories. And yeah, this graveyard, I think this is right near the entrance. And the fact that they have open coffins for people to pose in and take pictures. It's like, here's a picture of you as a dead victim in a graveyard. Perfect. Get the kitties in there. And I love in the concept art they have, they got a dad and a kid, and then someone in a wheelchair throwing their hands up, looking all excited. It's some of this concept art. We'll talk a little bit more. There's some details in this concept art that is just hilarious if you start zooming in.
It really is. I mean, they went all in on it.
Yeah. Finally, as I mentioned, the portal, the way you're going to get into all of this, each of the lands has a portal that you enter into, and this one is topped with like a giant Tesla coil pulsing with electricity, like what Frankenstein used to bring the monster to life. And the quote from the original film, "It's alive! It's alive!"
Oh.
And you're going to see, this electricity that pulses over the portal. You're going to see kind of cables that sort of run all through the land leading up to the castle, and I believe it's all going to kind of be in sync. So you're going to see this power flowing through the land and up into the castle. It should be pretty cool.
I cannot wait. Speaking of It's Alive, one of the the universe, like the streetwear collection of theme park, they have a bomber jacket that has It's Alive,
Awesome.
on the back, and I want to buy it.
Well, speaking of buying, if you cannot wait to show your love for Dark Universe, the preview center that is in City Walk is all stocked up with new Dark Universe merchandise. One of the things that I find really interesting is all the merchandise shows the monsters in silhouette. They're all kind of these abstracted images that deliberately do not show the facial features. So like I said, no Boris Karloff, no Bela Lugosi, their family estates are not involved in any of this merchandise, but they still have those iconic silhouettes. So even though you don't see the face details, you can definitely tell who the creatures are. And yeah, they've got shirts, hats. I got one of those bucket hats.
Ooh, nice.
And yeah, wallets, posters, you name it, you can get all geared up to show your goth love for the monsters.
I'm so excited. It's hard to put into words.
It
I mean,
is.
really.
It is more. We have just scratched the surface. Blake Taylor on our website did a deep dive into the lore of this land, hidden details in the concept art and the videos. He really went hard on this one. So I encourage you to go to attractionsmagazine.com and read this whole article. But he's got some great bits. Like I said, talks a little about the timeline. How I have heard that early incarnations of this land were themed to be set in the turn of the century, set around the time of the original films. But this is definitely set in 2025. Updating it to a modern timeline. He's got a list of some films that you can check out to get all prepped for the new land. Like we mentioned, those films do not involve the Tom Cruise universe that
No.
died before it even got started.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that, except when we go to the horror makeup show, and then we talk endlessly about it, because
Yes.
apparently that's the last horror movie Universal made that they still want to talk about. But other little tidbits, when we see the Phantom of the Opera inside the new Monsters Unchained ride, he's going to be playing an organ that's going to have flames shooting up over 3 feet in the air out of the pipe organ. We've seen a patent that explains how they're going to do that trick. We've also got a little bit about the underlying message of the land, which is that the monsters aren't necessarily the bad guys. And I think that's interesting. A lesson of a lot of the classic monster movies, especially Frankenstein. I mean, no one's going to argue that Dracula is a good guy. But,
Right.
the creature of the Black Lagoon, definitely Frankenstein, the Wolfman to a certain degree, they're all victims of fate. They're all put in situations that they didn't ask for, and they really just want to be left alone. They just want people to stop waving pitchforks and torches in their faces and just let them be. And so that's kind of that emotional message, they've said, is going to be kind of under the surface if you're looking for it.
Right.
So
And I think that's why I love that it is set in the present, and kind of the monsters is a timeless concept,
yeah,
to an older crowd. We could think of it just as the old classic Universal monsters, but to someone new, it feels really fresh. And that
yeah,
kind of lives together, which is interesting and like a delicate balance to work out.
yeah. And even though they have, I keep talking how they've refreshed or given them a glow up, they're all still very recognizable. No one's going to look at this version of Frankenstein and say, "Oh, that's
Oh,
not
yeah.
Frankenstein." Yeah. And then finally, uh, for some reason, Universal a few years ago, they did a ad campaign with Kenan Thompson,
It was like
who
the
is
whoa, or
Saturday Night Live star. Yeah.
yes.
And apparently they saved all of the photos they took of him and his family and insist on shoehorning him into their concept art. So we had seen this earlier in some How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk concept art with him there. And now apparently Keenan's going to be riding the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster over and over and over again. And the funny thing is that
And that's he's doing
one
his
version,
classic face too.
he's got the classic face, but the funny thing is, like, in the media kit version, uh he's there, but in the general public version he's not. So maybe it's just a little Easter egg for us folks in the media.
Right.
um a couple other little tidbits that we learned. Eagle-eyed viewers of the preview video noticed that there is a single rider line for Curse of the Werewolf, and having seen construction documents, I can confirm that. I also believe there is going to be a single rider line for the Monsters Unchained ride, since it operates very similar to Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. And I gotta say, the Forbidden Journey, that's one of the best single rider
Oh my
lines
god.
for time saving. So
So good.
hopefully Monsters Unchained will be the same. Um, and last but not least, we expect to see fog all through this land. They have part of the construction permits show buildings that are going to be used for fog generation. In the video, we can see that there's like a well in the middle of the square that has red fog bubbling up through us. So if you miss that Halloween Horror Nights fog smell and you
I
want to
do.
smell the fog year round, this is going to be the place to go. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And in case you are wondering whether you're going to be able to ride these rides or not, Monsters Unchained has a 48-inch height limit, and Curse of the Werewolf is only 40 inches. So pretty much the whole family should be able to enjoy this.
Yes, if they're brave enough.
Yep. We have tons more deep dive details on this land and all the other announced lands. We are just holding out till next month. Hopefully in July, we will get the final details on the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, the Ministry of Magic. That's the final land. And maybe we'll start getting some details on when we can buy tickets and plan to visit, because I cannot wait.
I cannot wait to. So when they announce the Wizarding World, do you think they're going to announce an opening date?
I think it would be smart of them to let people start booking.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. I mean,
They've said before that they're summer 2025, but since then there have been some interviews with key creative folks who have said that it will be ready in early 2025. My guess is that maybe some kind of grand official opening at the very beginning of official summer, but soft openings in the spring,
right.
which could be February, March, who knows. But I think that people plan vacations
Yeah.
up to a year in advance, and to get people. I know they don't want to cannibalize their current summer season. Last year was a very soft summer season. We saw a lot of panic in Orlando. Numbers for last summer, coming in well below expected. So far, what I've seen this summer, it's hit or miss. We've seen, bouncing up and down. One week we've got huge crowds, and then they just sort of mysteriously vanish for a few days. Very inconsistent right now. We've seen both Disney and Universal offering some generous ticket discounts that
Oh, yeah.
10 years ago, they would never do that during the peak summer season. So I think that once we get over the get past the middle of summer, get past July, 4th of July, and get towards maybe the end of July, maybe they'll be willing to say, okay, here's our marker. Here's what's the story for Epic Universe. Go ahead and book your tickets now. So that's what I'm hoping for, because I have a book that I'm writing all about Epic Universe with the help of Alicia Stella. And we've got a lot of question marks in there about how things are exactly going to work, how the ticketing is going to work. So the more details we can get before I have to go to print, the better.
Yes. I mean, I do know one thing. My Universal annual pass will no longer be the most affordable one that I own.
No, you know what? I have a feeling that, maybe they'll offer some incentive for those of us who already have passes to upgrade, but we're going to see a whole new world. Traditionally, a Universal annual pass was a lot cheaper than Disney's, and I think that they're gonna pull even, if not have an option that pushes them ahead in terms of pricing. And I think with the demand, they might be able to get it.
Yep.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much for sticking with us. We are hitting the hour mark exactly.
But everyone is so hyped.
Bam!
Oh, it's so nice to be excited with everyone. And it was like when Disney did the halfway to Christmas thing this morning, I was like, oh, I'm just so in Dark Universe right now that I can't even think about Christmas.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Brian Sager just talking earlier in the comments about the halfway to Christmas. I was so busy preparing for this, I have not checked out their announcements. Is there anything on there that is really new or different, or is it pretty much same old, same old?
Same old, same old. Jollywood Nights is returning to Disney's Hollywood Studios Select Nights. There's no mention of the Muppets show, which a lot of people are a little upset about, but there is a new ice skating show.
Oh, okay. Ice skating. That's new. All right. Well, I will definitely have to check that out. So let's hop over into the comments and see what kind of things folks left for us. Andy Haynes, who I got to hang out with just the other night at a Slice Creative Mixer. By the way, if you don't know what Slice is, Google it. If you are a creative freelancer in the Orlando area or even anywhere around the country, it's a great networking. I got to hang out with some great people. Kim Grommel, who's one of my favorite theme park designers. Bunch of other cool people were there hanging out. Andy chiming in to say that he loved the original Exposure. It was one of his all-time houses with the camera flashes and the storytelling. It was one of the first houses he remembers having a real continuity, and the first room and the last end were bookends. Yes, I do remember that. Yep. N is confirming that Despicable Me is released in theaters on July 3rd. Yes, that's in the United States on July 3rd, in foreign markets on July 4th. Vince Lamb is wishing everyone a happy Monday and World UFO Day. And he has the same thought we do, that the Dark Universe better turn out better in a theme park than it did in the movie screens. Also pointing out that Netflix House is once again themed entertainment coming to the rescue of the dying malls during the retail apocalypse. You are so right. Talking Dark Universe, Magic City Mayhem is excited for the creature from the Black Lagoon. Yes, we did have mentioned that he is going to appear in the Monsters Unchained ride. And maybe someday in the future, there is a plot set aside for an expansion. And there had been plans for a Jaws-style boat ride involving the creature from the Black Lagoon. Whether that comes true one day, we do not know. But we do know that there will be fog.
There will be fog, most importantly.
Magic City A Mayhem also correcting me that Universal does not use the term animatronics. They call them animated figures because animatronic is a term associated with Disney. Does anyone remember back in the day where they would call them Cinnabots?
Yes.
Yes. The T-70 robots in the old Terminator 2 show were called Cinnabots. That just rolls off the tongue.
Cool.
Also pointing out that if you are a stickler for folklore, a familiar is something different for witches than it is for vampires, and maybe we could see a like rap battle or a rumble between witches familiars and vampire familiars. I think the witches familiars would probably win because
Oh,
they're
for sure.
mostly cats. And they
Yeah.
just claw their hand. And Magic City Mayhem also pointing out a tiny little detail. The portal in the preview center, the model in the preview center has a different quote over the portal for Dark Universe.
Oh, not
Instead
it's
of "It's
alive.
alive, it's alive," it says the air itself is filled with monsters. And this brings up a good point. I have a bunch of folks in my Facebook feed, folks I'm friends with, who are artists who worked on early versions of that concept model as far back as like 2018, 2019, before COVID. That model is now almost 5 years old. And we've seen a lot of little details that have changed. So it's not entirely there are places where that model does not match up with either what is being constructed or what is on the publicly filed construction documents, because things have been tweaked since that was originally iterated. But I just want to give a shout out to all my model maker friends. Some really, really talented people worked on that model, and I could just spend hours sitting there
Yeah,
and looking at it.
it's breathtaking. You have to see it in person.
All right. Well, and one last little tip. That well filled with red fog, Magic City Mayhem thinks it is a well of blood.
Oh,
Ooh. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who chimed in the comments. And before we go, we want to thank our sponsors, MEI and MEI-Travel. We want to remind all of you to please give us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you happen to listen to us. And please here on YouTube, like and subscribe if you like watching us live. Also, be sure to follow us at attractionsmagazine.com and search for Attractions Magazine on all your favorite social media platforms. Carly, where can folks find you on the socials?
yes, I am at Adventures by Carly on Instagram and on X at Carly Caramata. And sadly, I will not be here next week. I'm going to stay in the new cabins at Disney Sport Wilderness. So I don't know if I get Wi-Fi out in the wilderness. So I will not be around next week. But I will definitely share everything about it when I come back.
Well, so I am also probably not going to be here next week, one way or the other. I have been selected for federal jury duty. So I may be gone for several weeks. I may be in an undisclosed location. I may be sequestered. I'm supposedly not even allowed to wear my Apple smartwatch for 2 weeks. So
I think they're going to kick you out.
I was gonna say, hopefully, voir dire will send me home after the first question. But if not, I will be back at the end of the month. In the meantime, I'm sure we'll have some fabulous guest hosts. Andy Haynes might be back. He filled in for you recently. It was great. Maybe he can be in charge next time. Who knows? But someone will be here next week. And until then, we hope that you stay safe, try something new, and most of all, have fun. And we or someone will see you again next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.